Good evening, and welcome back to Wisdom by the Fireside. Tonight, we share a story wrapped in grief, struggle, and perseverance. It's a story of heartbreak in the face of tragedy and the quiet strength that rises when everything is lost. This is for anyone who's ever felt abandoned by life, only to find light again in unexpected places. This story takes us back to one of America's darkest days, September 11th, 2001. But like every story we tell here, it's not just about pain, it's about healing and hope and the quiet victories that change everything. So, settle in. Tonight's story is called The Day After Tomorrow. Her name was Rachel. She was 30 years old the morning her world ended. At 8:46 a.m. on September 11th, her husband Jonathan was at his desk on the 97th floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center. He called her at 8:42, just before the crash. He had forgotten his lunch and wanted to say he loved her. 4 minutes later, he was gone. Rachel watched the smoke on the TV in their modest home in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. She called and called, but the phone rang out, and eventually it didn't ring at all. They had married when Rachel was just 19, barely out of Lincoln High School. Jonathan was 5 years older, already working, ambitious, deeply in love. She never had to worry about rent, bills, or even taxes. She stayed home with their children, Noah, 7, and Grace, 4, and ran the house like clockwork. Her life was him and them. But after September 11th, everything fell apart. She had no job, no degree, and no idea how to navigate life outside of home. Her bank account started draining fast. Insurance helped, but not for long. Jonathan's firm, located in Tower 1, had lost over 100 employees. Rachel's calls for help were met with apologies, and then silence. She sold the car, cancelled cable, started walking everywhere. Every trip to the grocery store was a lesson in humility. The kids began noticing the changes. Noah asked why there weren't cookies in his lunchbox anymore. Grace cried when Rachel said they couldn't visit their favorite park across town because the subway fare was too expensive that week. Rachel cried in the bathroom at night, muffling the sound with a towel. She tried to get work, anything. She cleaned apartments in Manhattan, took babysitting gigs, folded clothes in the back of a laundromat. But the jobs didn't last. She lacked experience, and her confidence was fragile. One morning in early 2002, after yet another rejection at a nearby diner, Rachel sat on a bench outside PS 170, waiting for her children to come out. She was crying quietly when a woman sat beside her. "Are you okay?" the woman asked. Rachel wiped her eyes. "Just overwhelmed." The woman introduced herself as Carmen, a volunteer at a local women's center on 5th Avenue. She handed Rachel a card. "We help widows, single mothers, anyone who's lost something." Rachel almost didn't go, but the next week she did. The center became a lifeline. They offered therapy, resume training, basic computer classes. Rachel hadn't touched a computer in years. She learned to type, learned to email, learned to write a resume, learned to believe she could start again. With the center's help, she enrolled in night school at Kingsborough Community College. She studied liberal arts at first. It was hard. Her brain felt rusty, but she kept going. During the day, she worked at a small daycare in Park Slope. Thanks to a reference from Carmen, she read to toddlers, played games, changed diapers. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. Slowly, things got better. By 2005, Rachel had earned her associate degree. Noah was 11. Grace was 8. They were proud of her. On graduation day, Grace clapped the loudest. Rachel wasn't done. She transferred to Brooklyn College, majoring in early childhood education. Her professors were impressed with her dedication, her story. She graduated with honors in 2007. And in September of that same year, exactly 6 years after losing her husband, Rachel started her first job as a public school teacher in Flatbush. Her salary wasn't massive, but it was hers. She decorated her classroom with drawings from Grace and Noah. Every September 11th, she lit a candle at home and told the kids stories about their father, how kind he was, how much he loved them. By 2008, Rachel had started volunteering at the same center that once saved her. She helped other women, new widows, struggling mothers, women who thought their lives had ended. She became the voice that Carmen had once been to her. She never remarried, not because she didn't want love again, but because her life had become full in its own new way. In 2010, Rachel spoke at a memorial at Ground Zero. She told her story, not to gain sympathy, but to remind everyone that healing is possible. Her voice shook as she said, "I was 30 years old with 2 children, no job and no hope. But with faith and help and sheer determination, I built a new life. Not the one I dreamed of, but a beautiful one nonetheless." Rachel's story is a testament to quiet strength, to perseverance when the world collapses. She reminds us that tragedy does not end us. It invites us to begin again. That even when we lose someone we love, we can honor them, not just in mourning, but in how we choose to live. The lesson here isn't just survival. It's growth. It's resilience. It's the idea that purpose can be found after pain and light after the darkest night. So if you're listening tonight and you feel like you're stuck, like life has taken something too big to replace, remember Rachel. Remember that healing is a path, one step at a time, one kind voice, one new choice. And be that voice for someone else when the time comes. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay warm, stay kind, and never stop believing in your next chapter.